So I was actually working on Wall Street for a couple of years before. In 2008, I decided to move to Asia and China specifically. And I just wasn't really passionate about the work. You know, the money was really good, but at the end of the day, that's not what drives me. And so I moved to China to pursue, to be an entrepreneur. So I worked on a different couple of projects. I started a couple of my own businesses. And then eventually I worked for companies like Groupon, entering the market. My expertise is early stage companies. And then I just literally got an email one day from a friend saying, hey, there's this company called Uber starting up in Asia. Anybody interested? I talked to the people and just really quickly realized how disruptive, how big of a change Uber would bring to these cities in Asia, and it just got me hooked. For Uber, I literally have jumped everywhere. I'm on the expansion team, so my goal is to launch new cities for Uber all over Asia. And so my journey literally has been in China, and then after that I was in KL, in Malaysia, then the Philippines, Australia, New Zealand, Thailand, and then now in Vietnam. You know, one of the interesting things about Uber is that we want the best people. We want the most talented people, but we also want local people. I'm the acting general manager here, but I'm not here long term. We're trying to find a local person to run the business. The rest of the team is all Vietnamese. They speak Vietnamese. This is their home. This is their city. They're from here. Our teams here are very small. To give you an example, the team here in Ho Chi Minh is 5 people. For as big of an operation that we're running here, as you can clearly see from our startup office, we're still a very small team.
Oh my god, my hair looks terrible.
You should wear your hat.
Okay, that's a good idea.
So now we actually work. That's what we do all day, by the way. Discount thì đối với gói chi phí là 2 lần.
You know, a year ago, we're not even a year old, but no one knew what Uber is. Fast forward almost a year now, it's looked at as a premium brand, a Western brand, a sexy brand. So we want to do big and bold things. And so some of the things that we've done in the past is we've done things where we've used the app to basically deliver coffee around the city. We work with Coffee Bean on that. So press an app and an Uber would deliver free coffee bean to you at a push of a button. So when people start saying how cool these ideas are, it gives us the opportunity to think of very creative ideas and try to do them. And the great thing about what we do in Vietnam is our teams are so small, we can execute really quickly on these ideas. Basically think of an idea, put a plan together, and just roll it out. The thing about Vietnam is everyone here has a motorbike. That's the average person here is just so used to driving their own motorbike to get around. And so in terms of having a car or even riding in a car, that's a luxurious service here. One thing here is taxis. You know, to a Westerner, taxis here are actually considered pretty cheap, but to the average person, it's actually quite expensive. For instance, in Singapore, to go 1 kilometer in a taxi would take the average Singaporean. He would have to work 15 minutes in his average job to make that money to go 1 kilometer. In Vietnam, to go 1 kilometer in a taxi, he's got to work 3.5 hours. So you can see how big that gap is. And so what we're doing for Uber is, you know, we're using technology, we're just more efficient. And so with more efficiency, we can utilize cars better. Drivers basically can make more money because they're not driving around in circles with gas, wasting gas or petrol. And so what's exciting here is we could drive the price down. But we're starting to see some change in the city, in the country itself. You're seeing Ho Chi Minh City is building a metro line that's supposed to be completed in the next 5 years. So the city itself is also progressing and modernizing as we go. So with that combination, we'll see. I think it's going to be really exciting what the future holds in transportation, what is transportation in Vietnam. When we first started, it was definitely your middle class, upper class, white collar office workers, men and women. But we're starting to see that change now. Again, as we're getting cheaper, people from different segments are now coming into using the Uber platform. So we're starting to see a lot more we're starting to see a lot more students. We're starting to see a lot more people outside of the traditional, you know, not just office workers, but, you know, freelancers, older people, stay-at-home moms. We're always going to have resistance, you know, all across until we get regulated, or at least until the government understands this new type of technology and creates the necessary legal framework for it. And so that's kind of where we are right now. You know, I think a lot of people want to embrace this technology, and I think, again, Vietnam as a whole innovates, adapts very quickly. And so we're pretty positive that we'll get regulated in Vietnam very soon.